Hey, Happy New Year, and welcome to another weekend message from Grand Point Church. If we have not met, my name is Mitch, and I'm so glad that you're spending some time with us to start your new year. Can you believe that it's 2026 already? If you're like most people, and maybe like me, you've started this year with some renewed energy, maybe some resolutions, some new goals, fresh commitments to habits that you've wanted to break or build. There's something hopeful about a new year, isn't there? A sense that this could be the year that things finally click into place. But here's what often happens. Within a few weeks or maybe even a few days, that New Year's momentum fades. The gyms get less crowded, your journal entries get shorter, the ambitious plans get buried underneath the demands of real life. And we find ourselves right back where we started, feeling busy, feeling overwhelmed, and wondering why we can't seem to make lasting change. What if the problem isn't that we're not trying hard enough? What if it's that we're simply focused on the wrong thing? As we kick off a new year, we're starting a new message series called One Thing. And this weekend's message explores Jesus' encounter with Mary and Martha, where he reveals the one thing that truly matters. It's not about doing more or being more productive. It's about choosing what's better, and that choice changes everything. Whether this is your first time listening or you've been with us for a while, we are grateful that you're here today. Let's jump in together.
What I'm going to do tonight, and you might have noticed this from your handout, it's not necessarily an expositional sermon verse by verse through this text with 3 points. You'll see that most of my page is blank. What I'm going to do tonight is tell you the story. And then we're going to take some time. We're just going to sit at the feet of Jesus tonight and just do some communion together, some unhurried communion. We're just going to just spend some time just reflecting on the bread and the wine that will be served. But I want to tell you the story that Heidi just read. Jesus had just crossed the very barren and unreceptive desert of Samaria, and he has resolutely set his face toward Jerusalem. He knew why he was going there. The season of fall was just the beginning. Leaves were beginning to fall. And every time that happens, it's a true sign that winter is just ahead. In 6 months, Jesus will be dead. And he knows that. So for him, winter is already here, kind of piercing his own heart. And as he approaches Jerusalem, he stops about 2 miles away at a village on the eastern slope of the Mount of Olives. This is the place of the village is called Bethany, and it's where the home of Mary and Martha and Lazarus was. Jesus was great friends of those three. And so he stops there, maybe to see his friends, or maybe to seek some shelter from the cold reality that awaits him in Jerusalem, but I think his reason for stopping there was both. He comes to the home of Mary and Martha. Lazarus is not mentioned, but we suspect that he was also there, but it doesn't mention it in this particular text. Home is something that's unfamiliar to Jesus. The home that he knew was underneath an olive tree, on the side of a hill, by a fire on the seashore, in the hull of a boat, and all those places where we saw Jesus over the last several years. In fact, one day when Jesus was talking about the cost of discipleship, Jesus said, "Foxes have dens, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man does not have a place to lay his head." He did not really have that home. So laying his head in a home was a rare treat for Jesus, especially a home like this, a home where he was recognized as Lord, a home where he was loved. Even though the world did not receive him, when he knocked on the door of this home, the doors opened and he was welcomed with open arms at the home of Mary and Martha. Martha, the older sister and the owner of the house, was the first to greet him, and her excitement quickly spread throughout the house. Mary heard the commotion, and she came running to meet Jesus as well. And she comes to the door to greet him, and immediately both Mary and Martha go into action. Martha brings him a drink, one of Dave Wilson's cranberry bubbly mixtures with a little dash of vinegar. Dave, I don't think Dave's here. But she brings him a drink. Martha's a doer. She's a doer. She has this take charge attitude. Martha will do whatever it takes to get things done. She loves to serve others. In fact, the 3 times that we see Martha in the scriptures, she is serving. She's serving here on this occasion. In John chapter 11, she's serving Jesus at the death of her brother Lazarus. And then in John chapter 12, she's serving at the resurrection meal for Lazarus. See, that's what you do when you come back to life. You have a meal. You celebrate. In her home, the kitchen is her place. The yolks of the eggs that she serves for breakfast are never broken. The fruit she sets out in the wooden bowl for lunch is always fresh and sweet. Dinner is never overcooked. Martha is the perfect hostess. And on this particular occasion of Jesus' visit, she's all about preparing a good meal for him. Nothing like a hot meal for a weary traveler, and nothing but the best for Jesus. Now, Mary, as a co-host, she's expected to help. That's just culturally, traditionally, her role. She's expected to help with all the preparations. That would be normal in this culture. But Mary departs from normalcy and stays with Jesus in the next room, which is also a violation of gender separation in this culture. Mary is a woman of few words. She's not a typical leader. She's a devoted follower, but she doesn't offer the kind of service or action that other people do or that Martha did. But she does offer herself. And she's capable of tremendously beautiful acts of worship. Now, it does not say in this text, but according to the custom of the day and the very fact that she was sitting at Jesus' feet, it may simply have been that when Jesus came into the house, Mary went over and removed his sandals, took a basin of water and a towel and just washed his feet. It's what you did when a guest came into your house. And she washed his feet, she pushes the basin aside, she lays the towel aside, but she resumes her position at the feet of Jesus. And because of where Jesus was going, resolutely set toward Jerusalem, right? He has a lot to talk about. He's got a lot in his mind, a lot in his heart. And now he's at the home of some of his best friends, and no doubt he just begins talking about some of the things that are coming and maybe some of the fears that he has. We don't know what the conversation was, but Mary sits there and listens intently. Now, 3 times you see Mary in Scripture, that's where she is. She's always at Jesus' feet. On the occasion of this visit, at the death of her brother, and then when she anoints Jesus' feet with perfume shortly before his death, she's at the feet of Jesus. 3 times we see Martha, she's serving. 3 times we see Mary, she's sitting. And possibly her physical posture just reflects the very posture of her heart. Humble, reverent, teachable, all the qualities of a good disciple. And there she sits, taking in every word that's coming from his lips. So in this house right now, something eternal is in the making, but it's not in the kitchen. And what's cooking in the kitchen will be going in a meal. It's what's being prepared in the other room that will go on forever. See, in the other room, Mary is sitting at the feet of Jesus, listening to him speak. Again, we're not told what he was talking about. We're not told what he said, but perhaps he was telling her that the hourglass of his life has already been turned, and the hour of his death is fast approaching. And Mary's taking all of this in while Martha is in the other room, in the kitchen, caught up in a whirlwind of activity there in her place. Now, her service in the kitchen was this huge gesture, but it was a mistaken one. See, at this moment, Jesus did not want food. He wanted fellowship. You know what? Jesus says Martha was distracted. It wasn't that preparing a meal was wrong. Serving is not wrong. You have to have meals. Someone has to serve the meals. But it was that at this moment, Martha was distracted by many things, by much serving. But Martha doesn't know that. She continues to work on the meal while Mary just sits over there at the feet of Jesus. Listen, if you've ever been stuck in the kitchen doing the work and someone's in the next room, you're trying to listen in because you don't want to miss out on that conversation, right? It just doesn't seem fair. And the more intently they get talking in another room, the more you're like, I'd like to be there too, but I'm stuck in the kitchen. I have to be in the kitchen. And pretty soon, I believe this is what happened, and pretty soon she was like she had enough. She throws down the dough, she wipes her hands on her apron, she walks into the next room, and she said, Lord, she blames Jesus. Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha is hot. She doesn't even address Mary directly. She's too mad. She says, she doesn't even call her by name. She refers to her as my sister. But Jesus understands. He always does. And he gently says, Martha, Martha. Every time Jesus repeats himself, name repetition. You see it throughout the scripture. Every time he repeats himself like this, he does so with this kind of an empathetic tone in his voice. Like the time he would weep over Jerusalem, he says, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often I long to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. Or the time when he would prepare Peter for his failure, he said, Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. Or when he confronted Saul on the road to Damascus, he said, Saul, Saul. Again, name repetition. Why do you persecute me? In our story, Jesus says, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but what's the next two words? One thing. One thing is necessary. One thing is necessary. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. And what did Mary do? If Mary did the right thing, if she did the better thing, we need to know what she did. What did Mary do? All she did was sit. However, it's where she sat that made all the difference. Admittedly, we give a lot of attention to serving, don't we? We encourage you to serve. We post opportunities on our website for service opportunities. We host a serve day. We try to get as many people in the church to leave the building and go out to serve in the community, and we're called to serve God. The Bible is very clear. In fact, God made us for himself, and then Jesus frequently calls us to obedience and to service. We've even been given gifts so that we can serve. So we're called to serve. So Jesus' words to Martha might seem a little strange to us. We might expect him to compliment her for serving. Why does he tell someone who has called us to obedience, tell his servant to stop working and just sit down and listen? It might not make sense to us. But here's what I want you to know. Serving and sitting are both important, and we are called to do both. Sometimes when we hear this story, we inadvertently pit these sisters against each other. Like there's a good one and there's a bad one. And then we try to identify with them, and we label ourselves like, oh, I'm like a Mary. Or most likely we might say, I'm like a Martha, right? We try to identify like there's something on a scale of a personality test or something. But that's not it. That's unfortunate. We should never look at this story in that way, like there's one that's better than the other, because we take sides and our own identity becomes wrapped up in defending one of these women or the other. Listen, this story is not about busy people and lazy people. This is a story about focus and distraction. Jesus said, Martha, Martha, you are distracted by many things. And then Jesus says only one thing is necessary. It's focus. It's not the individuals. It's not the personalities. It's not what they're doing. It's distraction versus focus. You're worried and upset. That's a very unhealthy hurry, by the way. So what is the story here? What is the most important thing? The answer lies in God's priority for us. See, nowhere in the Bible are we told to serve God at the expense of knowing God. Having made us for himself, he does not at first fashion us for usefulness. No, God, first of all, fashions us for knowing him. That's far removed from our utilitarian thinking, though, isn't it? See, when we make something, we usually make it for a practical purpose. There's only one occasion that we make something for the sake of its own beauty, and that's when we're doing something creative or doing something artistic. See, parents can relate. Few of us have children just to have more help around the house. Maybe some of you do, but we have children just to know them and to enjoy them, right? That's why we have children. And so it is with God. He is first and foremost an artist. He's a craftsman. He's a father who enjoys his children. He's not a manufacturer. He's not a factory worker manufacturing a product. You're not a product. No, you are a person that Christ fashioned for you to know him and for him to enjoy. That's hard for us to get our minds around this because we're led to believe sometimes that God created us to serve him. So we think. After all, he gave us spiritual gifts of service. So I should be busy. I should be going. I should be serving. I should be doing. And listen, I want to be useful. We're great fans of usefulness, aren't we? When something is not useful anymore, we discard it. We throw it away. So I don't want to be useless. I want to be active. I want to be doing. I want to be getting things done. So I'm a doer by nature. It's kind of where I'm at. I'd rather do than sit. It's easier for me to be doing something. I want to be useful. But God is not only after our usefulness. No, the artist wants to enjoy his work. He wants to enjoy his creation, and he will use you well, but not before he has enjoyed your company. What is God's will for you? Jesus' words to Martha give us some deep insight into his heart. He first wants us at his feet. He first wants us to learn from him. He first wants us to know him. In college, we were given this book to read. It's a classic, Knowing God by J.I. Packer. And to this day, I always remember chapter 2. Chapter 2 in that book left me with 4 points that I will never forget. He says this, using the life of Daniel, Packer gives 4 propositions to knowing God, and he says, those who know God have great energy for God. Those who know God have great thoughts of God. Those who know God show great boldness for God, and those who know God have great contentment in God. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for me. But you know how that happens? All of that happens when you sit at the feet of Jesus. When you take some time to get to know him. That's not going to happen when you're busy with all the distractions of life. It's not going to happen when you're upset and worried about many things. No, it's going to happen when you are sitting at the feet of Jesus. And when you sit at the feet of Jesus, then you have great energy for God. You have great thoughts of God. You have great boldness for God. And you find great contentment in God. All of that is useful for your service, isn't it? That's how we want to serve. We want to serve with great energy. We want to serve with great thoughts. We want to serve with boldness. And we will if we first of all get to know God. It's exactly what happens when we sit at his feet. Now, Martha and Mary were both friends of Jesus. They both love him. But in the acts of serving and sitting, Jesus said one thing is needed. Spend some time at my feet. I mean, we get so caught up in serving that we forget sometimes to sit at the feet of Jesus. We have all these things in our lives that claim our time, whether it's our families, the demanding work schedule, volunteering, recreational activities, work, whatever it is. We get up in the morning, the list is there, and we're ready to do until we're exhausted. But what if we first of all sat? What if we sat? Listen, there's great energy, there's great thoughts, there's boldness that comes from that. Perhaps we will be able to do better if we first of all sit. See, all the activities that you have going on in your life, they're not bad choices. Sometimes they're the right choice. Sometimes, but sometimes the right choice or the necessary thing is to simply sit at his feet, to learn from and to fellowship with him. Someone has once said, contemplation and action make great sisters. Now, I don't want to genderize this. Not sure if genderize is a word or not. But it's kind of easy seeing Mary do this, right? Oh, Mary's sitting there. She's got this little flower-covered journal, matching pen, cup of coffee, steam coming up, just sitting there, legs crossed, right? At the feet of Jesus. That's what women do. That's what Marys do. But listen, I want to say to you today, this sitting at the feet is not just for Mary, it's also a manly thing to do. It's a manly thing to do. See, this is not just about you sitting to sit, but it's about learning from Jesus. It's about planning our day. It's about business decisions. It's about leadership. It's about relationships. It's about putting our hope in him. It's about finding our rest in him. It's about pre-game activities that we might do. It's about all those things that we do before we step out into this big world. Right? And we spend time at Jesus, watch what happens in your day. Watch what happens with your business, with your leadership. See, it's all about finding our rest in him. It's about a life that's characterized by significance and not just all about success. Sitting at the feet of Jesus is a heart attitude more than it is anything else. It's for men and women alike. It's for students. It's for kids. It's desiring to know him more. Finding your strength in him. Matthew 6:33 says, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. That's what it means to sit at the feet of Jesus, to seek him out, let him impact your heart, let him change your day. Tonight, we're just going to take some time to participate in communion. We're going to take the bread, we're going to take the cup on this very first gathering of the new year. And as we do this, I want you to picture Jesus coming to your home right now, knocking at your door. You're going to open the door of your home right now, you're going to let him in. You're going to greet him like Mary and Martha did. Open arms, come on in, Jesus. Now don't get busy working on the meal yet, because we're going to take some time to sit first. And I want you to just picture Jesus coming into your home right now. This is the home. Your heart is the home. He's knocking at the door of your heart. We're just going to open that up tonight. Jesus maybe goes into the kitchen, gets his bubbly cranberry drink, but then he goes and sits. And he says, come. I want you to sit at my feet. I just want to be with you. I want that to be the posture of our hearts tonight. We're here, Jesus saying, I just want to sit with you for a while. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to pray for us, and then we're going to serve communion. But as you right now, if you would just bow your heads, close your eyes. Father, it's so easy for us to think that our kitchen of preparation is so important. But today, this evening, we just come to sit at your feet. Forgive us for being so much distracted by our preparations and so little attracted to your presence. Forgive us for being so diligent in our duties that we neglect our devotions. Forgive us for being so quick to our feet and so slow to yours. So right now, on this Saturday evening, bring us out of the kitchen and to your feet as we worship.
I love this message because it gives us permission to stop striving and start sitting. In a world that constantly tells us that our worth is tied to our productivity, Jesus invites us to simply just sit with him. So here's my challenge for you this week. Set aside 15 minutes each day to practice sitting at Jesus' feet. Turn off your phone, find a quiet spot, open your Bible to Luke 10, and just be with Jesus. Don't pressure yourself to have a profound insight or emotional experience. Just be present. If you want to go deeper, you can grab J.I. Packer's book, Knowing God. It's a classic for a reason. And if you're not yet connected to a small group, this is the perfect time. You can visit grandpoint.church/groups to find a circle that fits your schedule and life stage. Before we go, I want to say thank you if you gave to our Christmas Eve offering. We raised $62,282 to support a new partnership in Honduras and other global missions. Your generosity changes lives around the world. Thank you so much again for listening to Weekend Messages at Grand Point Church. Don't forget to like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to, and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you next week. Don't forget, choose what's better. Choose the one thing.